Well, hi. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2026. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. Great time on Saturday at the Shamrock Shuffle. Had tons of fun. Also, I know there was a lot of people enjoying the silver maple tapping at Botna Bend Park over in Hancock on Saturday. So just tons going on. I always love the Shamrock Shuffle because it's kind of the unofficial start to the season. Spring, not here yet, but there's always such great energy, and that's the same as last Saturday. It's tons of fun, and if you missed it, get it on your calendar for next year because it's an annual event, and boy, it is just being around a lot of people in the morning, everybody smiling. It was a wonderful experience. So thank you to everybody that helped out and put that on, and thank you to everybody that stopped by the booth and said hi. We enjoyed seeing you. In Council Bluffs, we know that we have a little bit of a housing crisis. Our vacancy rate is dangerously low, and there are some new developments going up, some new apartment buildings, and in fact, there's a new 55 plus community that is going to be being built, and that is being conducted by Jason James. He is heading that project up with Heartland Properties, and Jason is also starting a new podcast. Now, we haven't released the podcast yet. That is not out there, but we'll let you know when that's going to happen. In the meantime, I caught up with Jason last week and we talked about the new projects that are going on, and I'm excited about some of the work that he's doing. So we're going to hear from Jason James from Heartland Properties on today's episode of Morning Coffee. A leak, a clogged drain, or a big remodel? Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered with fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They take pride in doing the job right the first time, residential or commercial, big, small. If plumbing problems strike, give them a call. Visit waldsteinplumbing.com for a free estimate. Good morning. Start with peace of mind at Miners Healthcare. They provide professional in-home support where it matters most, helping individuals maintain comfort, dignity, and independence in their daily lives. Their experienced nursing team focuses on personalized care, clear communication, and supporting families through every step of the process. It's healthcare that's built on trust, it's built on compassion, and it's built on real relationships. Learn more at minershealthcare.com. Into a different set this time, and the studio's on Willow as we actually just finished recording a brand new podcast that will be released very soon, as yet unnamed. This is Jason James with Heartland Properties. Thank you so much for coming over, and podcast was cool. You got a great team put together. That
Thank
was
you.
a fun project.
Yeah.
And
A little
also,
scary, but fun.
but also, I wanted to talk with you on this show because you're doing some really great developments around
you.
Council Bluffs, and we all have been talking about the vacancy rate being just microscopic, and it's really causing some issues. So the work that you're doing is a big part of helping to alleviate that.
I sure hope so. I mean, there is a real problem with vacancy rates in Council Bluffs. I mean, it's almost like an epidemic. You cannot find decent housing, and I think one of the things that really drove me to do this was our office. Is a real estate company, and we get a lot of calls, and we literally got multiple calls a day of people looking for rentals, and we just didn't have any. And some of us agents own our own individual rentals that we rent out, but we never had like a complex or anything like that. And that's what kind of drove me to look into, like, what if I could build a nice apartment complex, something that I would keep and be proud of. And that's really how at least the Ridgeline, the last complex I did, came about. And I feel like there's plenty of need for even more.
There are some projects that you have done that they just filled up just right now.
Yeah.
Get any feedback from the folks that are coming in about how they feel about being in those new units?
Well, at first, I think they love them because they're brand new. I mean, they're moving into brand new stuff, and the stuff we build has granite counters, stainless steel. I mean, in most cases, they're the first person moving in, so they're brand new. So we're getting good feedback. We get feedback from them. Something unique about the complex we did on Valley View there, the Ridgeline, we did not put a pool in or didn't put a clubhouse, and we did that by design because we felt, you know what, it would be nice to make the units really nice, but if we don't have all those amenities, we can keep the costs down. And even a gym, we thought, Planet Fitness is walking distance from us. So some of the feedback we've gotten is, we don't have a pool, but our rent is less too in some cases. So we went with a little different model. We made the units very nice. We made them something that I would be very comfortable living in, but we didn't add as many like amenities like clubhouse and gym and pool. And so that is one thing I've heard a few tenants say that they would love to have that.
Well, also though, you're in close proximity to a pretty great part of town.
Yes.
In Valley View, Valley View Park is my favorite park in
Yes.
town. Always have been. I've taken kids there for years, and lots of space there. And now with the new dog park there and everything else, the proximity to that is great. There's the restaurants and there's shops down in that area and different businesses. So kind of I think it probably made a lot of sense when you were looking for spaces to be able to do that. That right at the top of the list.
Yeah, I would say the piece of ground was a very difficult piece of ground, but I told my partner at the time, I said, this location is a 10. I know the ground is a tough piece of ground to develop, and it took a lot to make it buildable. But I said the location where it sits between the college and the exit there, and with the grocery stores, and just close to get on the interstate if you're going to go around the city to another part of the city or go to Omaha, I really felt strong that it was a great location, and that ended up being a good intuition because, like I said, they rented up really easy, and it has been a successful project.
Well, you've been looking at a lot of needs in town, and one of them is a place for older folks, which, by the way, I actually qualify for. I don't want to think about that, but I do. But you've got something new going in.
Yeah. So when we did, well, first of all, my partner John Jerkovich and I did some townhomes up on Patrick Circle behind St. Pat's Church there, and we kept 22 of them that we rented out, and they were kind of upper end rentals, like $2,300 a month. And I had a lot of people come to me. And especially older people that wanted to rent them, that the rent was just too much, But the units cost like over $300,000 a unit to build, so we couldn't really rent them for much less than that. So when I built the Ridgeline and did that, I had a decent amount of older people come to me that wanted to rent there or ended up renting there, but they really didn't want to be in that apartment environment so much. So I thought to myself, what if I could find a piece of ground and build more 55 plus or age restricted housing where it would just be for people 55 and older? And I found that piece on Valley View. It had been vacant for 20 plus years. And at one time it was owned by the hospitals, and part of it's in the floodplain there next to Indian Creek. And I seem to always find these really difficult pieces to develop, but I found that piece, and I just thought that location close to the hospitals, the nursing homes are down there, close to grocery stores, and there's a lot of people down that corridor that would like to age in that area. I thought that would be an ideal place for senior living. So now we're building 112 units of senior housing there on Ivy, and really excited about that.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room about it then,
Okay.
which is there was some concerns
Sure.
about it, a little pushback on it
Yep.
that folks. Do you think part of that was not fully understanding what it was that you were proposing to want to put there?
Maybe a little bit, but I mean, again, there's 19 or 20 residents on that street, or houses, and great neighborhood, great people. They've had a field across from them for years, and not always the best maintained field across from them, but it's nice kind of not having a neighbor across from you. And that ground was zoned for apartments. It was already zoned, so I didn't have to have it rezoned. I mean, I feel like I don't know if it was misunderstood. I think they would have really liked to see just a few houses there, but to get the ground developable and get it out of the floodplain and do all the things that you need to do, you just couldn't afford to just build regular homes there. So I think they would have liked to see something a little less dense, But we did some things with the buildings to really try to be respectful with the site. We sat the buildings more on the what I would call south side, and then along the North Broadway side, and we're not disturbing the trees a lot. We're putting garages in to hold the bank, and we did a lot of things to try to be respectful of the neighborhood. And I do believe in the end, Todd, I believe the neighbors will like it when it's done. I mean, we build nice stuff. We keep it. It'll be well maintained. We did a couple community rooms. We did a workout gym inside of it for the residents. We did like a game room / library near the elevators. What's cool about it has elevators. So basically, every unit's a main floor unit because they can take the elevators up. So it's great for seniors. And then outside the elevators, there's a fairly large common area that has fireplaces, and we'll have some TVs and have kind of a sitting area because we hope to have a little bit of light programming to create connection among those people, so that they feel a sense of community. It's not going to just be like senior housing. I'm excited. It's not. So when I came up with it, what I was thinking is, who's creating housing for the people that don't qualify for low income, the seniors
Right.
that don't qualify for low income, and the ones that can't afford the Primrose or the Harmony Court, which are awesome facilities, or Fox Run. Who's creating the stuff in the middle? There's a lot of people that worked good, honest jobs their whole life. They paid their bills on time, helped their kids go to college, or they have some money. It's not that they don't have any money. They just their homes are getting worn out. They can't afford, to maybe put a new roof or a new furnace, and this is going to be a great option for them because they can sell their home and rent a nice place like this and have a sense of community still.
You used a word in there, and that was dense.
Yeah,
And something that I have heard from a lot of different community leaders is the density of the population in Council Bluffs is an issue.
it
And
is.
you look at some of the other communities that are similar in population, but they seem to be in a lot better shape. And part of the reason for that is we're spread out.
Yes,
And
and it's expensive.
yeah, and the we are all expected to have to pay a lot more per capita because the population is not as dense as in other places. So this is addressing one of those issues.
No, it is, and it is a struggle that Council Bluffs has. You go to Iowa City, and I bet you for every foot of street, the amount of assessed value versus
Mhm.
Council Bluffs is much different. And that's an example of, one side of that street had houses on it, but the other didn't. And it still has sewer and water, and the city maintains the street and scoops the snow. And this is going to add, equivalent to, say, 12 to 14 million in assessed value. You just couldn't build that many homes there, right? So that is going to help. It makes me think of my wife and I love going to New York City sometimes just on like a weekend deal. And we were in New York City one day, and we were walking, and there was just restaurant after restaurant. And I said to her, how do they support all these restaurants? And you look up and you
Yeah.
go, oh,
Yeah.
it's 50 stories high. It's so dense, and also one thing that kind of pushed me towards doing this type of project and more of these infill projects like the Ridgeline, or Ivy Drive. My brother, who's the fire chief here in town, had said to me, "Why do you guys keep spreading out and want to develop and push the city further? Why don't you start building stuff on the infrastructure and the lots we already have?" So I kind of took that to heart too, and I started looking for lots that were in town and thought, if I can build where they're already at, the infrastructure is already there.
Yeah. I had Justin on the show last year, and he very, very smart man.
Don't
and
tell him that. I don't want his head to get too big. So,
I know you still have to get together for Thanksgiving,
yeah,
but he was telling me a lot of things that I'd never thought of before,
yeah,
and he was one that had brought up the density issue.
yeah.
And that it makes sense.
It
It
does. I
does make
mean,
sense because I have been pushing for over a year that we need to put a sign up outside of town that says Council Bluffs, the biggest small town in Iowa, because we are.
we
We
are.
have a pretty large population. We're over 60,000, but you tell me, you're a businessman here. Does it not feel like a small town when you're dealing with folks?
That is so true, Todd. And I will tell you, um, But we're a little suburb of Omaha, so we get that big town
Yeah.
feel of Omaha a little bit, but we are a small town. I just had last fall a couple move here from Louisiana, and they ended up here, and they commented on how much they love the small town feel here, but they're so close to it's 15, 20 minutes to the airport. They're close to all these amenities, and not that we're a huge mega city, but to me, we're the right size. It's a great community. And one thing unique about Council Bluffs that some people, I just think they take it for granted. This city is very easy to get around fast because the interstate loops it. So you can get on that interstate and loop around this city. I sell real estate, and I'm not saying I always obey every traffic speed limit, but I can tell you I can get about anywhere from one end of the city to the other in 10 to 12 minutes. That's unheard of almost sometimes from a city, the type of metro we're in.
Well, yeah, when you consider, the square mileage that we have here inside of the city limits, yeah, that's fast.
Yeah.
And you're correct. I mean, you can get over on the North 25th, it hardly takes anything from one side of town to the other.
If you like, driving 30 some years and selling houses on all these streets in town over the years, you find all the shortcuts and all the little ways, and I can get around town pretty darn fast. And we don't deal with the traffic as many other places do. My wife's aunt Jeannie moved over here from I want to say around 140th and Poppleton in Omaha years ago, and they'd lived in Omaha all her adult life with my wife's uncle. And when they came over, they finally decided to move over here. Jeannie's sister had moved away, and she decided she'd never lived in Iowa, and she moved over here with Mike. And one of the things she said to me after she moved over here is she said, I wished I would have moved here 20 years ago because I just didn't realize how nice it is not dealing with the traffic.
Yeah.
And it's something we have here we kind of take for granted.
Yeah, there's our rush hour is about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, something
Yeah.
like that. If you just catch it at the right time, you might have to wait through a cycle at a red light.
Yeah.
Maybe. But not too many with that. Well, before we wrap things up here, Jason, something that I like to ask folks, especially the first time I get to talk to them, is about your why.
Yeah.
Because listen, you being a real estate developer and have worked inside of the real estate industry for as long as you have, you could do that anywhere, but you chose to do it here. So what is it about Council Bluffs that says this is where I'm raising my family, this is where we are digging in roots?
Oh, that's a good one. I think one of my core values has always been loyalty. And, and again, I feel like I can make a difference here. I feel like, could I move? My father-in-law once said, have you ever thought of moving to Omaha and doing real estate over there? And this is my home. This town's helped me get where I am. And I have a why. I like creating spaces and sense of belonging, and just I just love that. And my why is I just want to make this community better. I mean, I really think that I just want to leave it better than it. I got it, and I hope my kids continue to stay here. I don't know if they all will, but I think it's a great community. I think it's a hidden secret, and I would say I want to give you a little plug too. I love your podcast because I love getting this local news. Like, I feel like I'm getting the truth from real people around town. I've watched your one with Travis Wallstein and some of your other podcasts, and I've caught them, and I do enjoy them, and I'm happy what you're doing. And I hope you can get more people from different areas of the community so we can get good, solid information.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. Thank you for the compliment. And it's working out.
Yeah.
People are watching and people are supporting it. And between this show and between the Pottawatomie County Roots Show, which catches the other parts of the county, we are approaching 600 episodes. It grows fast when you're doing 10 a week.
Yeah.
But still, that's a lot of folks.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to talk to. And I've told the story before. I was out with Western Iowa Development Association. They had an event, and we were over at Brood Awakening in Avoca, and a lot of WIDA members were there, and we're all going around introducing ourselves. And I said, just to let you know how everybody in this room has something in common, raise your hand if I've interviewed you. And 35 people put their hands up, and 3 didn't. And I said, for those who didn't raise your hands, I'm coming for you. But we've been doing this for a while now, and yeah, there's the stories uh, deserve to be told.
Yeah.
They People need to know about everybody that's just they're living and they're working and they're supporting the communities. And we have a special thing in Southwest Iowa. I think that Council Bluffs obviously is a hub of that, just based on proximity and size. But we need to let the world know. And this is just one small way of doing it. So
I agree. I thank you for what you're doing.
well, and I thank you for being on the show today, and I hope it's not the last time. And
No, it wasn't that. It was
yeah.
a little scary, but I made it. So thank
Well,
you.
we'll learn more about as the Ivy Drive project moves on, and we'll learn more about that and the next one after that.
Yep.
All right.
Hope so.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Todd.
Technology should be working for you, not against you. And at ThinkSpace IT, they provide expert IT solutions to keep your business running smoothly and securely. Cybersecurity, cloud services, network management, tech support, they simplify IT so you can focus on what matters most. Stay protected, stay connected, stay ahead. Visit thinkspaceit.com. And if you are looking for a laid-back spot with great food and even better company, it's the Mile Away in Council Bluffs. They're located on Old Lincoln Highway, just north of town. Now, they're closed today because they take Mondays off to be with their families. Everybody's got to have that day off to recharge. They'll be back again tomorrow morning. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, they've got it all for you. And this is some of the best food around. To me, it's comfort food. This all tastes homemade. It's like I'm going to somebody's house for dinner. And I would encourage you to get on out there, give it a try. The Mile Away. North on Old Lincoln Highway in Council Bluffs. That is going to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much, Jason James from Heartland Properties, for joining us today. Great to visit with you, and I'm looking forward to that first episode of the podcast coming out. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.